For you to guarantee at least one seat, remember n plus 1 equals 5 in this case, you need 1 over 5 times 100,000 plus 1, or 20,001 shares. So if you have slightly over 20% of the shares, you're guaranteed at least one seat. Let's kind of think about it. Why? Suppose you have 20,001 shares. That would give you bless you, 80,000 and 4 votes. Remember, each share gets 4 votes. There are a total of 400,000 votes, and number of votes outside of you is 319,996. Okay. Suppose it wasn't true that 20,001 shares wasn't enough. That means there are 4 other candidates other than your own who received 20,002 votes or more. Is that possible? Oh, I'm sorry. 80,005 shares, votes or more. Well, if that is the case, votes other than yourself total at least 80,005 times 4, 320,020. Well, that number is greater than 319,996. So it can't happen. This is known as reductio ad absurdum. You make a claim, we assume that that claim is not true. If it's not true, you follow its logical conclusions, and that basically leads to something absurd. Like 300, I'm sorry, yeah. Number of votes that must be outside of you is greater than the votes that are outside of you, which obviously can't happen. So if there are 9 seats open, what is the minimum number of shares you must have in cumulative vote to guarantee at least one seat. Who's going to tell me that? 9 seats are up for election. It's cumulative voting. There are 100,000 total shares available. What's the minimum you can get away with? SRN, 9. So n plus 1 equals 10. So 10,001. 1 over 10 times number of shares plus 1. So if you own 10% or more of the company, you are guaranteed a seat. Which one is more democratic, cumulative or straight? Why? You're thinking about democracy as majority winning. The concept of democracy is more like, yes, the majority should win, but we should also protect the rights of the minorities. Why do you think we have a Senate that has 2 members from each state? I mean, Wyoming, which has a population less than 600,000, gets 2 senators. California, which is about 40 million, gets 2 senators. Even in presidential election, Wyoming has one, what you want to call, uh, House of Representatives member. So they get 3 electoral votes. California gets 55 plus 257. So even though California is, let me see, about 67 times as big as Wyoming, in terms of electoral votes, it's only 19 times as big. Whether you agree or not, the idea behind that system is you want to protect smaller states from dominance by larger states. Because if you didn't do it that way, basically Florida, Texas, California, they would dominate most of the parliament. Certain things I don't like. For example, there are a lot of smaller states. You can have a, I mean, right now and in general, you can have a filibuster proof. You can filibuster a Senate by using votes from about 20% of the population. I mean, 1800s, people were learned, but now it's all about politics, whether you agree with the thing or not. 20% of the population can actually filibuster the rest of it. But, those are democratic things. You uh, protect the rights of the minorities. That's why cumulative voting is more democratic. I mean, just because, what you want to call, uh, who's the Facebook guy? Huh? Zuckerberg owns more than 50%, doesn't mean he should control the entire company. He does, but that's a different story. But certain other companies, it's not like that. They sometimes separate outside directors, but in general, if there is a pension fund that owns a big percent of a company, they kind of almost guarantee the board membership, which means they can exert control over the management. Otherwise, majority pretty much determines the management, and they can do a lot of bad things to the minority. All right, let's do some problems. There are some issues that come up. We can handle those. All right. Holiday Markets pays a constant dividend at the end of trading Wednesday. The price of its stock was 43.16. At the end of trading on Thursday, the stock price was 44.08. The dividend yield was what? And capital gain yield was what? I think there's a problem with this question. Oh, when we look at the price, uh, solving this,